Former RFK Jr. running mate Nicole Shanahan is here. Nicole, what happened last night?
I think what happened was we saw two candidates speaking to their bases very effectively, and tens of millions of Americans watching and walking away wondering to themselves, oh gosh, what do I do now? I was really hoping for something more. And people were disappointed in Kamala for not expressing more details in her plan, which she said the word plan many times, but none of us really walked away with an understanding of what any of these plans were. And then people looking to Trump and hoping that we would see Trump talking about things in new and innovative ways, but it was very much the Trump that we're used to, and that leaves all of us independents in the middle really looking and grasping for some clarity, and I think what we want to see is teammates. I think we really want to see a debate team. We want to see people around these individuals that are speaking on their behalf or with them and talking about how they're going to make and execute their White House in the direction that Americans are hungry for. And I have to say, the one thing Trump did was he talked about the topics Americans care about the most right now, which are inflation, the border, and war. And he really, really did hone in on showing his passion and his commitment to solving those three very large issues. Kamala kind of evaded them in ways that I think left many Americans frustrated.
Was Kamala evasive because she decided to be evasive, or were the people running Kamala, the machine, were they telling her not to say anything that she believes in? And who are those people?
I think the vehicle behind Kamala, and I said this yesterday in my post-debate commentary, we've got BlackRock in Kiev running a war in Ukraine, enriching themselves in very significant ways. We have Big Pharma behind Kamala that is really relying on the Affordable Care Act to directionally continue in the direction it's been going, which is, very, very expensive prices and kind of under delivery of services, and really an accounting of an ongoing swath of very sick people in this country. And so, I think what she did was she was very polished, she was very prepared, but Americans are feeling these issues in a very visceral way that her talking points and her sophistication weren't really able to somehow manipulate around. And even if that was their goal, Americans walked away just kind of feeling let down by last night's performance.
Does Kamala connect with people? I don't see it. Do you?
I come from the liberal progressive world, and the community I come from, they thought she did great. She looked polished. She sounded polished. Next to Trump, she looked very strong to the intellectual liberal community. But when you kind of dig deeper, and this is why I encourage the intellectual liberal community to go out there and connect with Americans, everyday Americans, because
Right.
when you do that, you realize that how out of touch many of these elite Democrats actually are
working
with the
class
realities
Americans.
on the ground in this country.
Did working class Americans hear Kamala last night and say, yes, I feel her, I feel something there, that she cares and has a solution? Did they feel that?
Yeah. It's missing. But again, I can't say Trump left, many undecided voters feeling great either. Maybe feeling more secure, feeling like there is a strong man in the room who's going to take care of business. But, I think that people wanted to see something from Trump that maybe looked a little bit like a combination of Trump and Bobby Kennedy together. And we have 54 days until the election, Jesse, and I think we still have a chance to show undecided voters what this partnership really is all about.
We've seen flashes of that, Trump, and everybody aspires to see that again, but it doesn't always come through. Maybe it will later, but we can only hope. Thank you so much, Nicole Shanahan. Have a great night. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.